Hey everybody, it's GW. I am really happy to be here. This is one of my every week or two, just kind of catch everybody up on what's going on in my retirement life. I got to tell you, there are some days that retirement life is better than others, and this is one of those ones when it's not as good as it might have been. Just bored. And bored is never a good thing for an old guy with too much time on his hands. The golf course I play at is closed this week because they're doing a maintenance week on the golf course, and I don't feel like traveling around everywhere and doing that. So it just kind of left me with too much time on my hands. And you know what happens when the person has too much time on their hands? Well, unfortunately, what happens is they get bored. And then they start stewing on things. And then when they stew on things, they find things that, wow, that really upsets me. And unfortunately, usually it's something that I can't do anything about. It's certainly not within my power to fix how the lawn grows. It certainly is not within my power to take care of all those carpenter bees that are digging at my fence out there. But it is within my power, I guess, to mow the yard and to fertilize and to work with that. But doesn't take that much time. It a day is a relatively long day. I mean, I'm sitting here now, it's the middle of the afternoon, and I've been basically watching reels for the last probably hour and a half. Not really proud to say that out loud, but that's what I did. But you know what I also did is I now I've been looking at things and I go, well, I need to have more to do. I think I've said that before. I try to say that I want to do something different every day. And I really do try to do that. Now, today, my something different, I think, was taking two lottery tickets back to the store and cashing them in for that $5 win that I had. And that was kind of a big moment for me. I mean that's a victory. So that's pretty exciting. So anyway, what I also found out is that when you take a look at what the Supreme Court has done and what Trump has done and what other people have done, they appear to be going after the John Brennan and a few other guys that were part of the CIA and part of the Justice Department in the previous administration and made life a little difficult for Trump. And he, of course, not being a guy to hold a grudge, he sat there and has waited his time and is now basically directed people to do investigations on these guys. Really too bad because they didn't do anything wrong. They were trying to do their job to the best of their ability on a day to day basis. And that's true for 99.99% of the people who work for the federal government. They go to work every day and they say, I'm going to try to do a good job. I worked either directly for the federal government or indirectly supporting the federal government for almost over 40 years, 45 years. I don't think I ever went to work and looked at a guy next to me and looked at him and said, what do you think? Should we do a bad job today? Should we do a job that no one would think would be very good? And I'm pretty sure that no one of us, not even one of us, would agree with doing that and at any time during the time. We might joke. We might have a laugh every now and then. I remember that one time we had a project that went bad, and the guy that was sitting in the cubicle next to mine, um, he sat there, left a sign on my desk, and he said, hey, GW, we screwed up. Since it was mostly your fault, I'll take the top bunk. And we had a good laugh about that. But that's when we learned that we had to just continue on and do the best that we could on a day, on an hourly basis sometimes, but certainly on a day-to-day basis. So right now, the Supreme Court's agreed that the president has the right to reduce the federal government. There's nothing wrong with reduction in force. Probably probably went through that Oh, half a dozen times, I would think, in one way or another. But you know, the bottom line is that every time that it was brought up or anytime it was said, well, I was working with the government, there was usually a great deal of planning. And there was a great deal of, okay, if your agency has to lose 10%, who are we going to do? You know, what, not necessarily who. What function can this agency do away with that is not going to harm the effectiveness of the overall effort of the agency? And there was a lot of thought that people put into that and a lot of effort that people put into that. And then they would send those off and they would send whatever it was that was going to be done. And sometimes the reduction in force would take place, sometimes it wouldn't. But you know, it was always a carefully thought out effort, carefully planned to make sure that the amount of impact on the agency would be minimized so that the agency itself could continue to do the job it wanted. I don't think that that's what's being done now. It certainly was not being done by DOGE when they went in. Now, to use an example, the Veterans Administration, the VA, since February, they've had 17,000 people resign from the VA since February. Now, when you have 17,000 people resign, that's a lot. It's not a small agency, but 17,000 is a significant number. And when you have that number resign, they're coming from localized areas. They're not being looked at of, okay, what function can we minimize and still be able to provide the services that we should provide to the veterans? 17,000 people resigning is just a number, and they come from everywhere. There's no thought of where they come from. There's another 12,000 that are expected to resign by the end of this September. Now, that's 29,000 people who have resigned or will resign or are expected to resign by the end of this fiscal year 2025, which is the end of September is the federal fiscal year. 29,000 people, that's a lot. And they're not being carefully removed. They're just people that went home at night, talked it over with their family, and said, you know, I think the smart move for this family is for me to resign. And off they went. So when you take a look at this list, agriculture and commerce and energy and health and human services and justice and labor and treasury, State Department, Social Security Administration, they're all at risk. They're all going to have a reduction in force that takes place. I am not confident that it will be one that is carefully done. Not confident at all. I'm pretty certain that no matter what is done, it's going to be done with a chainsaw, as Elon Musk carried around with him, and not a scalpel. And that's going to be really, really difficult. So anyway, that's what I did today. Sat there and made myself angry looking at this sort of thing. I need to get better at doing something that really makes me feel good and makes me feel positive. But, this retirement has not been as easy as one would think. And I'm not exactly a newbie at it. I've been doing this for several years now. You'd think a person would get his act together after a while, but I'll keep trying. And I think that I will eventually get this thing done correctly. And when I look back on it, it's going to be okay. Looking forward to that day. So anyway, these are my retirement thoughts number 3. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm GW. Sign up, subscribe, send money, do whatever it is you got to do. And hope somebody enjoys this. Okay, have a good time. We'll talk to you all next time.